Boys, Ceiling MMA here, and today, I'm going to be actually predicting a fight night. I don't know if I've even ever done this. I usually miss these predictions, and I don't want to. I just kind of end up putting it off and not doing it. I'm going to be doing the prelims really quickly. I'll just go through who I think wins, and then I'll break down all the fights on the main card, more breakdownishly. You know, um, this is UFC Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. I don't know how you say the name of this city. Des Moines, Des Moines. I don't know. Sounds French. Um. Anyways, I'm gonna go with Petrovic in this one because Juliana Miller might be the worst fighter I've ever seen. She's terrible. And Petrovic is kind of bad. I just want to say that. That's not important. I'm gonna go with Thomas Peterson. I think he'll be able to take down Dontel Mays and win from that. I'm gonna go with Bolaños because he's better. Rodriguez. I don't know why she's such a big underdog here. I think she can win this on damage, and she's been fighting better competition. I'm going to go with Bakoev here. I think he's better than Ryan Loder. I don't know. I'm going to go with Misha Tate. Yana Santos doesn't have a very good ground game. Okay, now we're going on. That was so quick. But yeah, I don't really care that much. I mean, if this was a pay-per-view, I would. But like, I want to make another video today. I might not. I don't know. Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones. So Jeremy Stevens is returning to the UFC after being at BKFC for ages. And Mason Jones is kind of underrated. He's actually quite good, and he's well rounded. He's got a taekwondo background. You see him throwing spinny kicks in there, and he's a pretty good wrestler. He can grapple. He can mix it up. I'm gonna say Mason Jones is gonna win this by like a decision. I just think Jeremy Stevens. I don't fucking know how you say his name. Well, I do, but like I've heard people say it different ways. Like I've heard people genuinely say Jeremy Stephens, and it's spelt like that. But I'm gonna say Jeremy Stevens. No, Mason Jones is gonna beat him. I think he's a bit better on the feet, although he shouldn't brawl because Jeremy Stevens is a good brawler and he's powerful. Even at 40, he's still gonna be powerful. But I also think Mason Jones can mix it up. Jeremy Stevens he's been at BKFC for ages. He won't have been wrestling that much. So yeah, Mason Jones. I'm gonna go decision. Maybe around 3 TKO. Cameron Smotherman should not be the underdog here. Firstly, this is a good underdog. Cameron Smotherman is one of my favourite bantamweights. Why? So for a while, I was watching. I was thinking like, okay, I don't want to be I want to be like a hardcore MMA fan. So I'm going to tune into a Fury FC fight card. Or was it Brave? I don't know. I think it's Fury that Cameron Smotherman fought in. How do I not remember this? So I tune into it, and I see Cameron Smotherman fight, and he won by knockout. And then I was watching him since then. I think that was after he'd lost on the Contender Series. But I'll get to that. And then it got announced he was making his UFC debut, short notice against Jake Hadley, who's very good, very underrated. And I said to one of my mates who I was watching the event with, I think it was Hernandez versus Pereira. I said, mate, watch out for Cameron Smotherman. I know it's short notice, but this is a good underdog because he was a really big underdog for that fight. And he went in there and he won. He beat Jake Hadley, easily outstruck him on short notice. Cameron Smotherman, yeah, because it's just a satisfying feeling when you're hyping someone up for so long, and then they win finally, right? He's actually got very good hands. He's good at mixing up to the body and head. He does train with Adrian Yanez, so that kind of explains it. And Adrian Yanez isn't amazing, but I think he'd knock out Serhii City. Yanez would. And I think Serhii City, I watched his last fight with Armfield, and he could have lost 30-27. Like, it was a very bad robbery. And I think in this fight, I think Cameron Smotherman, his loss on the Contender Series, like he froze up a little bit, and then he got caught. Apart from that, he's winning pretty clean. He had a very good performance against Jake Hadley, and it was on short notice. City does slow down a bit. Smotherman doesn't really slow down that much. He's very good at mixing up to the body. I think I already said that. And I think Cameron Smotherman. I think Jake Hadley would probably beat Serhii City. I think he's cut from the UFC now, but because of that fight. But he's quite well rounded. He's quite technical, and I think Cameron Smotherman is gonna win by either a third round TKO or like a 30-27, 29-28, and continue the run to bantamweight GOAT status, because that's exactly what Cameron Smitherman's going to do. Anyway, next up, Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Bro, Montel Jackson's underrated. People forget, man. Damon Blackshear just had a very good striking performance against Alatane Haley, and he's also a very good grappler. Hold on. And Montel Jackson slept Damon Blackshear easily in the first round. I don't think Daniel Marcos is particularly good either. Don't even know if he should be getting an opportunity here to fight, to get ranked and fight number 15 Montel Jackson, who did he lose to? Ricky Simone in a very competitive fight. He has other losses, I know that, but just I'm gonna go Montel Jackson. I think he KOs him in the second round. In the second round. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus D-Rod. D-Rod is pretty good. Well, he's been worse recently. The Morono fight was terrible from both of them, and Morono sucks. D-Rod, he's a boxer. I feel like if you could do more than just box, and sometimes he'll mix in a takedown or a kick, but if you can do more, and he's not very athletic, but if you can do more than just box, you can probably beat D-Rod, is what I've thought. And Ponzinibbio is actually pretty good. He has good leg kicks. He's good at range. I think he's definitely physically stronger than D-Rod, and if anyone's going to mix it up with the grappling, it'll be Ponzinibbio. So I'm going to say decision to Ponzinibbio. He should be the favourite here. Ranger Raider Bo Nickel. Now this is like the people forget, man. The hardcore fan thing is to pick Reina de Ridder. I'm not. I was going to, but I'm not. I'm not going to pick Reina de Ridder. I know he took down Kevin Holland and subbed him easily, but I think Bo Nickel would also do that because Kevin Holland at middleweight is weak and gets ragdolled in grappling easily. I don't think Reina de Ridder is going to be taking down Bo Nickel. And I don't think Bo Nickel's dumb enough to kind of get put in some weird goofy trip situation that Reina de Ridder is going to create. I know people think he's like this DDP striker where everything just works because he's so goofy and chaotic, but GM3 was actually piecing him up. DDP would KO GM3. Even early DDP who fought Darren Till is still chinning GM3 easily, right? And I think Bo Nickel is underrated on the feet. As much as he hurt Paul Craig in moments, he just wasn't really going for him. As much as it wasn't a great performance from either. I think Bo Nickel's gonna TKO Reina de Ridder in the second round. Bedtime is definitely gonna be picking Reina de Ridder. Maybe, I don't know. I think he probably will. I don't know who anyone else has picked for this card though. Okay, main event. Davison Figueiredo versus Corey Sandhagen. I want to say these odds are ridiculous. Minus 500 is insane, man. Especially for a guy like Figgy, but he is getting up there in age. He's 37, maybe 38. I think he's 37 years old. And he did take damage against Yan. He got dropped once. He got rocked a couple times. Right. Well, this is just okay. What the fuck are you doing? Hold on, lads, man. Got something wrong with my internet. Okay. Anyways, I think Davison Figueiredo is gonna win this, low key. Because you know what, yeah. Davison Figueiredo is the better grappler in this situation, and the thing is, if he loses it, it's kind of okay, it's past prime Figgy, and I can have an excuse for that here, because I do think he's a bit past it. I think he was against Yan, although he did look good against Yan. I think this is going to be maybe the worst version of him we see, just because he's older now, he's getting up there and he's taken damage quite a lot now. But I'm actually going to lean towards Figgy. This is a close fight. Bro, I think Corey is very, very hesitant when he's going against someone with a takedown threat, and he tries to be too technical. And Figgy's not. Figgy's just going to fucking go in there and boosh. He has pretty good combinations. He does, well, kind of. It's weird with Figgy. Sometimes he'll have decent combinations and sometimes he'll just be throwing one shot. He also has good body punches, and Corey's got a tall build, and I can see an upset here. Figgy is gonna be mixing it up. Hopefully, he needs to shoot takedowns to win this. Not even necessarily to do anything to Figgy, just to kind of, which it would work because I think he's physically stronger than Corey. But just to kind of upset Corey's rhythm and make him like, and I gotta get my foot on the outside and then switch step, and then Figgy just comes over the top, douche overhand. So I'm gonna go with Davison Figueiredo by decision. This is risky though, and Corey Sandhagen could win. I'm rooting for Figgy though, and I'm gonna go with him to win this. Yeah, that's it. That's it for today, lads. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
In a bit, lads.